There are moments that don't just hurt, they flip your life like a table. Mine started in the kitchen. I remodeled with my own hands, the room where we sang Happy Birthday and burned pancakes with the kids on lazy Sundays. That night it felt like a courtroom, and I was already on the stand. She thought she owned the verdict before the trial even began. "Listen carefully," Olivia said, wine glass pinched like a trophy, her eyes flat. "If you file for divorce, I'll drain you. You'll pay for the divorce, then alimony, then child support. And forget custody. I'll keep the kids while I keep seeing my lover." I didn't cry, didn't shout. Air got thin, sure, like someone cracked a window in winter, but I stayed upright. 11 years together, 2 kids, a house I busted my 20s to afford. I took extra shifts, skipped vacations, and made sure Olivia never had to wonder if the lights would stay on. And now she was telling me I'd fund the affair that bulldozed our life. She thought I'd pay for my own execution. "You think I'm going to bankroll that?" I asked, voice low. She smirked. "You don't have a choice." That laugh did it. Something in me clicked, not cracked. The part of me that compromised, the guy who swallowed insults to keep the peace, shut off like a light. I didn't slam the door. I tucked Mason and Lily into bed, kissed their foreheads, and ate dinner like nothing was wrong. Confusion was step 1. She wanted a fight. I gave her calm. Calm makes people careless. Never swing first when silence lands harder. "Finally acting mature," she said later, scrolling her phone. "Good. Acceptance looks nice on you." I nodded like I agreed. Inside, I started counting moves. Next morning, while she showered, I scheduled a meeting with the toughest family lawyer in the state, the one who protects dads and dismantles manipulative spouses for sport, cash retainer, no paper trail. That wasn't rage, that was planning. If she wanted a war, she was about to learn I study maps. The lawyer leaned back in his chair, smirking like he'd seen this movie 100 times. I laid out everything: her affair, her threats, the smug grin when she said she'd bleed me dry. He slid a checklist across the desk. Open a private account, lock down documents, prepare for custody, document everything. This wasn't a fight anymore, it was a blueprint. "Don't worry," he said. "You're not the first guy to sit here. She won't be the last to fall." That night, while Olivia laughed at her phone in bed, messages from her lover lighting up her face, I was in the office, scanning tax returns, pay stubs, insurance policies. She didn't notice. That was mistake number 2. For weeks I kept the mask on, smiled at breakfast, played the loyal husband role. Behind the curtain, I installed cameras inside and out, with audio, turned my phone into a recorder every time she opened her mouth. I logged her insults, her digs about the kids, her casual confessions about the affair, all time-stamped, all airtight. One night she chuckled, glass in hand. "You're finally being mature about this," she said. "I guess you're learning to accept life as it island." "Sure, Olivia," I answered, "whatever you say." She thought she'd broken me. Truth, I was building the file that would break her in court. Weeks in, I checked the GPS tracker I'd planted under her car. She wasn't at dinner with coworkers. She was at a rundown motel with her boss. Married man, kids at home. I had photos, video, screenshots synced from her iCloud because she never bothered to log out. She thought she was untouchable. I was already chiseling the pedestal out from under her feet. The deeper her affair went, the less she bothered with Mason and Lily. Bedtime stories skipped, parent-teacher meetings forgotten. She missed soccer games like they didn't exist. I never argued. I just showed up, every single time. And I recorded everything. In custody battles, consistency wins, and I was becoming the anchor our kids leaned on. "Daddy, why doesn't Mommy come tuck us in?" Lily whispered one night, tears in her eyes. I hugged her tight and said softly, "She's busy, but I'm right here." I logged it all: the tears, the questions, the way they reached for me when she wasn't around. Weeks later, she smirked at me across the dinner table. "You're finally getting it," Olivia said, twirling her fork. "This is just life. You accept it, you move on." "Sure," I told her with a calm smile. "Whatever you say." What she didn't know was that the divorce papers were already drafted, the evidence file stacked thick, and her lover's wife, Vanessa, had just found out the truth. The fuse was lit, and she was still sipping wine like nothing could touch her. Revenge doesn't explode all at once. It creeps in, quiet and sharp, peeling away someone's world piece by piece. The morning Olivia got served, the sun was shining like it was mocking her. She sipped coffee at the table, scrolling her phone, completely clueless. Then came the knock on the door. The Queen was about to meet the executioner. "Olivia Reed?" the process server asked politely. "Yes." He handed her the envelope. Her smile shattered as she flipped through the papers. "You're divorcing me?" she hissed. "Based on adultery, neglect, and emotional abuse," I said, stepping out with my own cup of coffee. "Should be an easy case." Her confidence cracked, but she tried to recover. "You'll still pay me alimony. I'll get the kids." I lifted a flash drive between two fingers. "Not with what's on here." 3 days later, Vanessa called. We met in a quiet cafe. I slid her the proof GPS logs, photos, messages, hotel records. She didn't cry, she didn't flinch. She just nodded once and said, "Thank you, I'll handle my end." That evening, she stormed into Olivia's office, dropped her own divorce papers right on Olivia's desk in front of everyone. Then she announced exactly who Olivia had been sleeping with, how long, and how company resources paid for it. HR froze her position the same day. Public humiliation burns hotter than any courtroom. 2 weeks before she got served, I'd already cut every rope she thought she could climb. Bank accounts split, joint cards gone, her lease canceled, insurance off my plan. The day those papers landed, her cards started declining everywhere. She thought she held the leash, but I'd already dropped it. She called, furious. "You're cutting me off?" "I'm protecting myself legally," I said flat. "Talk to your lawyer." Then I hung up. She raged, but rage doesn't buy gas or food. While she scrambled, I kept everything steady for Mason and Lily bills paid, routine solid. Olivia believed she was bleeding me dry, but every swing only cut herself. She wanted me broken, and instead she was the one falling apart. Court came fast. Olivia strutted in wearing heels likely bought on the last swipe before I froze the cards. She smirked like victory was hers until my lawyer opened the file. In court, arrogance dies. The second evidence hits the table. The judge barely hesitated. Primary custody to the father. Mother's visitation under review. Her lawyer shuffled papers. Olivia's mouth fell open. We had everything: teacher's notes, babysitter's logs, footage of her rolling in at 2 a.m., messages where she called me dead weight. It wasn't an argument, it was a demolition. The kids were already mine in practice, now in law. Her lover? Fired. Divorce papers from Vanessa on his desk. Career gone, family gone. When the house of cards falls, no one scrambles to pick it up. Weeks later, her calls turned from fire to begging. Voicemails cracked, shaky, desperate. I never answered. Silence cut sharper than shouting. The cruelest punishment is no reply at all. At a supervised visit, she whispered, "I made a mistake." I buckled Mason's jacket and said, "No, you made a choice. These are the consequences. Is less than #0, 6#. Her lover had already vanished, blocking her after his own life collapsed. HR eased her out with a polite excuse, but everyone knew the scandal. She went from admired to avoided overnight. Reputation is glass. Once it shatters, no one bothers fixing it. She mailed me a 4-page letter stuffed with regret and excuses. I sent it back with one note: "I did see the best in you. You made sure I'll never see it again." Mediation was supposed to be her last chance to claw something back. Olivia walked in with a flicker of hope, like maybe charm could erase the wreckage. I stayed quiet for 20 minutes, letting my lawyer speak. Silence builds pressure until one word detonates everything. Finally, I leaned forward, slid a folder across the table, and said, "Here's the deal. You walk away with your car, your personal things, and your name. That's it." Her eyes widened. "This isn't fair." I gave her a thin smile. Neither was betrayal. Inside that folder was everything: proof of the affair, proof she'd abandoned the kids, proof she'd signed away her rights to the house months ago without realizing it. Her lawyer whispered in her ear, but the fight had already drained out of her. She signed. Sometimes victory isn't loud, it's the quiet moment your enemy realizes the game ended hours ago. When the ink dried, it was done. I kept the house, Mason, and Lily. Olivia walked away with a car, a box of clothes, and nothing else. The woman who swore she'd leave me broke ended up empty-handed herself. She called once more. "Jake, can't we talk? Maybe try again?" I answered steady. "I've already moved on, so should you." The best revenge isn't noise, it's living so well they realize they never held the power. Mason and Lily thrive. The house is peaceful. And Olivia, she's left in silence, staring at the ruins she built. Rock bottom isn't a place, it's the mirror she can't look away from. If you enjoy stories like this, tales of betrayal, revenge, and hard-won freedom, make sure to subscribe and never miss the next one.